I used to hang out with black Americans. But you know what surprised me most is that I felt no connection with black Americans. And that surprised me. Now I know at the time I didn't. I felt no connections with black Americans because you know what? Black Americans were woke. Black Americans had looked at their oppressor in the face. They had tunnel vision, just like Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela looked at his oppressor in his face, and you know what? He had tunnel vision. They knew what was bringing them down. In Africa, we don't have tunnel vision. We don't know what is oppressing us. Because you know what? Because slavery just changed. It didn't go away, it just changed. So most people in Africa, we feel oppressed. We don't know what is oppressing us, you see. Those children in the Congo that are mining all of the coltan with their bare hands, they don't know that at the top of the chain is a white man. The children that are picking the cocoa, right? They don't actually know that the person at the top is a white man. I found out the farm next to my father's farm now belongs to Unilever. That's right. People in Africa cannot afford to buy land anymore. Do you know why? Because slavery never ended. It still carries on. They dump all their toxic waste all over Africa. All your babies' nappies are all over Africa. People cannot farm their land anymore. And you know what? Here's a fact. 3/4 of the people in Africa are under the age of 30. 3/4 of the people in Africa are under the age of 30. Majority of people in Africa have never heard of slave trade. Majority of people in Africa have never heard of colonialism. Majority of people in Africa only ever see white people when they're coming to save us. So majority of people in Africa fundamentally believe this. They fundamentally believe that white people are nice. They fundamentally believe that white people will do anything to save them. They fundamentally believe that if they walk across the Sahara Desert, cross perilous seas, the nice people in Europe will be welcoming them with big open hands. I say, if you don't want people from Africa coming to your continent, let them know the real you. That's right. Show them, because information in Africa, history is completely controlled in Africa. We don't learn history in Africa. Do you know what? Show them the brutality of the empire. Show them the brutality of the slave trade. Just show them. And you know what? If you don't want people from Africa coming to Europe, leave Africa alone.
Now, she struck a nerve because they are not clapping. She got too real and they got bothered. Because you see, now the scales are falling from our eyes and we are now seeing these folks for exactly who and what they are and what they're about. And we are not keeping quiet anymore. I heard this was supposed to be a stand-up show and I was like, ain't no way this is a stand-up show. But you know what? Good for her. Good for her for doing this when she did it. They are never interested in these conversations and to them, it's never a right time. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to make any changes because the issues we are complaining about have nothing to do with them, so they do not care. So yeah, if she had to get them during a comedy show, so be it. Good for her. Delainia says, wait to use your platform. Now they may not book her again, but stand on your purpose, queen. It took Africans a while to start peeping the game that these guys are playing, but trust me, we are slowly catching up. And social media has been doing a very good job in helping us open our eyes to the BS that exists in this world. But you see, all of that is changing right now because we, the youth, are changing the narrative. Like onions, we are taking down the layers of lies and we're showing our people, look, these folks are not who they said they are. Personally, I am not a fan of TikTok, but I must confess that I love the work that the youths are doing on the platform. Like, there is so much inaccuracy in the history that we were taught in schools. For some of us, we did not learn about colonization and slavery at all, while for others, when it was taught to us in such a way that we viewed the colonizers as saviors. Like, it wasn't taught in a way that would make us see colonization as the crime against humanity that it actually is. It was taught in such a way that we saw colonization as a blessing, as something that we should be grateful for that it happened. And that's because the curriculum that we still use in Africa till this day is literally the curriculum that was drafted out by the colonizers. We only got to know later as adults that all of those things we learned while we're in school were either lies and or half truths. Like she said, if they don't want Africans going to their countries, they should show their true colors, because trust me, if as a collective we saw these people for what they truly truly are and what they are about, we would be moving differently. Because for those of us that know and already peep the game that they are playing, we move differently already. So imagine if the majority of us knew. But you see, they don't want to show their true colors. They want to be able to do their undercover evil and then come physically and act like good people. After committing so much atrocities, now they want to be angels and saviors and act as if they did not do what they did in the past. They want to sweep everything under the rug and hide their true identity and history. Like they were so proud of themselves when they were committing all of those atrocities in the past and they benefited from them. But now they want nothing to do with their past. They are hiding history, sugarcoating and whitewashing stuff, and they are doing all of this so they can go down in history as good, nice people that saved the world. For example, I heard in America that they do not want to be teaching slavery in schools anymore, so they are moving to change that. Like they want to erase their true history. They want to turn a new leaf without actually turning a new leaf. And I find it very ironic, because if you think what you did in the past is so bad to the point where you obviously want to run away from it, why not change your ways in the present? But no, they do not want to change their ways. They want to be able to profit off of all this negativity, toxicity, all of this evil. They want to be able to profit all of it, not change, and still have the image of an angel and still have the image of savior and still have the image of good people. Like if you want to change, but you see these folks, they do not want to change. They want the benefit of being perceived by others as light when they are actually the contrary, the opposite of light. But you see, they can try, but that won't happen now, would it? Like a friend of mine was telling me recently, they are losing their popularity and the world is now seeing them for what they truly are. He even went as far as to say that they did not know that social media was going to turn out to be what social media is today, and that if they had known, they would have shut the whole thing down when it started.
There will come a time where no amount of dollars will be able to make up for what is lost and what is broken. Colonizers go to war with nature and call it a business opportunity. I tell you that even our dead have drowned in their graves, and you ask me to be polite. You tell me to give you a little bit more benefit of the doubt. You take and take and take until we've birthed our babies into the same water as our dead. And even then, you gather like vultures and feed on our helplessness. In your charity, you make profit. I tell you that there has been a massacre, and the land will never be the same. The soil will never grow the same. The hum of mosquitoes has changed the color of the sky, and the sickness of your greed will haunt you in every single lifetime. And you tell me about a new UN proposition. Aisha, you've got to be a little more practical. And still, 100 dead, 200 dead, 1,500 dead. No negotiation will bring them back to life. I want the world leaders to know that the earth has a memory, and one day it will be your home, your family, your land. I pray and I hope you make the right choice. You cannot negotiate with nature. We are in a critical time in history, and we don't have much left.